Count Dracula is a character of interest in our time. He is the main character in Bram Stoker's novel, but he was also a real historical figure, Vlad Tepes, Prince of Wallachia. According to historical documents, he was a cruel and vengeful ruler. However, the image of Dracula, which was created by an Irish writer, is far from the real life of Vlad Tepes. The biography of Vlad III Basarab, who is known in our time as Count Dracula, has aroused interest since the beginning of the 20th century. His life is shrouded in legends, myths, and real facts of cruel rule. In the homeland of Vlad Tepes, he has the title of a national hero, and his castle in the mountains of Transylvania is a popular tourist destination. However, in pictures and movies, he is often shown as a frightening and repulsive character. Vlad Tepes was born between 1429 and 1431 and was a descendant of the Basarab dynasty. His life until 1436 was ordinary and unremarkable. His childhood is associated with the city of Sigis in Transylvania. The house where his family lived has been preserved and is now a museum. Vlad Tepes' father, Vlad II, turned to the Turks, Sultan Murad II, for help. During a huge number of battles and wars with the Turkish Sultan in the Principality of Wallachia. The dynasty of Vlad Tepes saw much blood and death during this period. In 1448, Vlad III Basarab took over as ruler and was already an adult. He was of Romanian descent. In 1442, Vlad II was invited to a diplomatic meeting with the Ottomans. However, it turned out to be a trap in which he and his two sons were taken hostage. From that moment began a period of captivity that lasted until the fall of 1448. During this period, Vlad III and his brother were trained in science, philosophy, and the arts, and became horsemen and warriors. However, they were also subjected to torture and violence, which hardened Vlad III and shaped his character. Vlad III's nickname Dracula comes from his father, who was a royal guard in the Order of the Dragon. In 1431, Vlad II joined this order and received the name Dracul, which means dragon in Romanian. Each knight of the order had to wear shields with the image of a golden serpent, and coins had a picture of a dragon or lizard. The nickname was passed on to his son, Vlad III, who later spelled the N with A and was remembered as Dracula. In 1447, Vlad Tepes's father and brother were killed, and local nobles took over as rulers of Wallachia. In 1448, Count Dracula began actions to free his father's seat from Vladislav II, gaining the support of the Ottoman sultans. However, after 2 months of rule, he was overthrown and exiled when Vladislav returned to the throne. From 1448 to 1456, Vlad III participated in the Ottoman-Hungarian conflict and abandoned his ties with the Turkish sultans, gaining the military support of the King of Hungary, Vladislav V. In 1456, Count Dracula became governor of Wallachia and adopted an anti-Ottoman stance. He passed a law abolishing the annual tribute to the Ottoman Sultan, which led to the end of peace between Wallachia and the Ottomans. The Count's further policy was to strengthen his power as ruler. He ended the conflicts between the boyars of Wallachia by gathering them at a banquet and ordering their staking when they challenged him. Vlad III made many enemies, but many of them recognized the justice of the ruler's punishments. The highlight of his reign was his victory over the Ottoman invaders, which led to celebrations throughout Transylvania, Wallachia, and Europe. Prince Dracula pursued a harsh policy of cleansing his people and surrounded himself with proven nobility. Anyone who disobeyed him or contradicted his understandings, no matter what class, was immediately executed. He was the father of 3 sons, but the line of the great Earl never lasted. Abraham Van Helsing described Count Dracula as a bloodthirsty prince who easily issued orders to stake people, roast them on coals, skin them alive, and chop them into little pieces. His actions overshadowed even Herod's atrocities. There is only one portrait of Prince Vlad Tepes that was painted during his imprisonment in Hungary. However, after looking at this work of art, it is difficult to imagine that this man was a sadist or a maniac. In his eyes, one can see confusion, suffering, and even fright, but in no way anger. Literary sources tell of Dracula's cruel foreign policy, and some details of these stories are horrifying. For example, he would hold a feast and watch the torment of those he put to the stake, and then burn those vagabonds with whom he feasted. He also hammered nails into those who did not take off their hats before him. In the summer of 1462, a Turkish phalanx battle took place in which 15,000 Ottomans were annihilated in one night. The Turkish Sultan was already in the Principality of Targovist when Vlad Tepes infiltrated the enemy unit to kill the Ottoman leader Mehmed II. Although the plan failed, the head of Turkey left Wallachia. His brother Rada's troops remained in the Count's homeland and took over. The victory over the Ottomans was brilliant but futile. The enemy was defeated and his friends betrayed Dracula. Prince Stefan of Moldavia defected to the Rada, and Tepes had to retreat to Transylvania. When Vlad Tepes came back to his native Wallachia 20 years later, furious citizens were waiting for him, and they defeated his army. Dracula himself tried to flee, but was killed in battle. The evil boyars cut his body into pieces and sent his head to the Ottoman Sultan. Only the monks remembered the prince's goodness and quietly buried his remains. After Dracula's death, a bad reputation spread about him, which became even more frightening and did not give a peaceful existence to the inhabitants. According to legend, the spirit of the Count could not find peace and turned into a vampire who was looking for a victim every night. The prototype character in Bram Stoker's mystical novel is Count Dracula. The book tells the story of how the prince rose from the dead, becoming a bloodthirsty vampire. Although Stoker drew on the letters of Vlad III, much of the information in the novel is fictional. The book portrays the hero as ruthless, but with some noble manners that Vlad Tepes did not have at all.